brogue kick. Sheamus just identified the weakest link.
If you want to enter our new Xbox and PS5 giveaway, all you have to do is subscribe and leave a comment. We'll be picking a subscriber to win out of the comments. WWE's booking of stars is pretty far from perfect. For the last several years, the promotion has repeatedly been criticized for its repetitive storylines, 50-50 booking, and poor handling of some of its most promising stars and potential upstarts. In some cases, wrestlers have been able to bounce back from poor booking. Fans have seen that happen with a name like Drew McIntyre, but not everyone manages to recover and find success in the promotion. I'm D-Wicked from Watch WWE, and here's 10 precise moments that WWE ended a wrestler's career. Number 10, Big Cass. It's when they split him from Enzo. Alright, we'll go for the whole thing, but WWE deciding to push the big man as a single star was murder. A knee injury stalled his momentum as he was put on the shelf for about 8 months, and when he returned, the 7-foot star entered a feud with Daniel Bryan. This could have been a feud that put over his heel character in a big way, but WWE chose to punish him for his poor behavior backstage. At Backlash in 2018, Cass was defeated by Bryan, who tapped out after getting trapped in the Yes Lock. Sure, he attacked Bryan after the match and got a little heat back, but he looked pretty weak during the match itself. Things only went from bad to worse as Cass was defeated by Bryan once again, this time at Money in the Bank. This was Cass's last match for the promotion as he was released due to his poor behavior backstage, including public intoxication.
Daniel Bryan going right after Big Cass.
Daniel Bryan's had enough.
Oh, right to the knee of Cass. The previously injured knee.
Number 9, Rusev. WWE had many a chance to push Rusev as its biggest single star. Maybe not its biggest, but man, Rusev could have been something. The best 2 times easily were when he came out on a tank, but the Rusev day had even more potential. He was massively over with the WWE Universe, but all it led to was one solitary match for the WWE Championship, a match which he lost. After moving to Raw, he entered a feud with Bobby Lashley over the affections of Lana, and yeah, this is pretty much where Rusev and Bobby's career both died for quite a while. Thank God Bobby got the Hurt Business. Rusev just had to leave the company if he wanted a career again. And the company wasn't done either, as Lashley would beat him in a tables match at TLC in December of 2019 as the Almighty beat him once more on a January episode of Raw before he lost again, this time teaming with Liv Morgan in a mixed tag team match the next week. Pretty soon after, Rusev was released from his WWE contract as a result of cost-cutting measures in April because WWE really needs more money, and thankfully, he is now known as Miro.
Wait a minute, guys. No! Bobby Lashley is kissing Rusev's wife!
Number 8, Brodus Clay. WWE usually likes to follow a pattern with most of its big men, which sees its most intimidating stars turn into comedic characters at some point over the course of their careers. Sometimes they're able to bounce back. Braun Strowman managed to win the Universal Championship at least once for, 3 days, despite busting out some moves with the New Day, but sometimes they fail like Brodus Clay did. When he debuted as the Funkasaurus, he was very over with the fans. He was pretty entertaining, shook things up on Raw, and still delivered in the ring despite playing a comedic character. But then he teamed up with Tensai, and it all went sideways. They formed a tag team that was officially the moment WWE jumped the shark with Clay's gimmick. Once he inevitably turned heel and targeted Xavier Woods, WWE booked him to lose pretty much every single match he worked, despite the fact that fans were expected to believe that he was more focused and aggressive in the ring. It was weird. WWE wanted to turn him heel, but once they did, he lost any sort of heel tendency. It was really dumb. Number 7, The Ascension. Getting brought up from NXT to the main roster, which pretty much we could fill out a whole list of in itself. Ascension was one of NXT's most dominant tag teams. In fact, probably still the most dominant tag team NXT has ever seen, so fans had very high expectations for them when they were called up to the main roster. Within 2 weeks of their call-up, though, WWE ended any hope that fans might have had of the Ascension finding success outside NXT. Almost immediately, WWE had the Ascension openly admit that they were just a ripoff of legendary tag teams like the Road Warriors and Demolition, literally looking like they took those 2 outfits and mashed them into one. Despite picking up a couple wins here and there when they first started, the entire announced team continuously buried Connor and Victor as they repeatedly told the fans the Ascension was nothing compared to the teams that they were imitating. Even JBL, a heel commentator, put down the heel Ascension because that's how we get the fans on their side, right guys? They were taken out by the APA and the New Age Outlaws. It was the cherry on top of the cake as after their beatdown, WWE ensured no one would take the Ascension seriously again.
Oh, look out! The New Age Outlaws going after the Ascension!
Here we go.
I knew it was going to happen soon.
Number 6, Damien Sandow. Somehow Sandow managed to take his stunt double gimmick and turn it into absolute gold. He was consistently the best part of the programming and managed to get the support of the entire WWE universe. Everything was in place for him to break away from The Miz and become a breakout star on his own. WWE had the opportunity to do just that when he competed in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania 31. Legitimately, the storyline with the most heat going into it. Fans wanted him to win, and WWE knew it by having him make it to the end before becoming the last man standing, only to be eliminated by the Big Show. And they chose the wrong winner hardcore. Pretty much ended Sandow's career, and it wasn't long before he formed the Meta Powers with Curtis Axel. And yeah, you don't cosplay as Hulk Hogan in 2015 and expect that to last.
Tag made, and here's Miz down. Whoa. Oh, that was a hard one. Clothesline.
Number 5, Kaval. Kaval, also known as Low Key on the indie scene, had all the tools to be a major star for WWE, except for the fact that he is an WWE set him up for failure the moment he was given Michelle McCool and Layla as his mentors on NXT. Sure, he won that season, but his continued association with them served to make him look like a bit of a loser. To make matters worse, he was turned into a jobber pretty early into his run on the main roster after he failed to beat Dolph Ziggler for the IC Championship. He went on a losing streak over the next month before being released from his contract in December after a loss to Drew McIntyre during Drew McIntyre's first run, which really has to say something.
What a victory for Kaval! The WWE's next breakout star.
Number 4, Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder had several start-stop pushes over the course of his WWE career. Despite being consistently popular with the fans, WWE really never broke him out of the mid-card. After spending a while doing pretty much nothing, Ryder replaced Neville in the ladder match for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania 32, which he won. Arguably the biggest win of his career and should have led to some sort of a push, but then he just kind of lost to The Miz the next night and then didn't do anything for the next year, and then the next year, and then the next year. Ryder always had a knack for bouncing back from poor booking decisions, at least in the fans' eyes, but WWE made sure he never truly recovered from this one. He had failed team-ups with Mojo Rawley, and him and Kurt Hawkins actually did win the Raw Tag Team belts, but pretty much screwed the moment he was signed.
The other side is Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder pushes Miz down. Zack Ryder's at the top of the ladder. Zack Ryder's at the top of the ladder. Zack's got the title.
Number 3, Luke Harper. Brody Lee is one of AEW's most compelling characters right now. Proof of the fact that he could have thrived as a single star in WWE if he was given half of a chance. Soon after WrestleMania 35, Harper worked a dark match against EC3 before an episode of SmackDown. Vince McMahon did not like the match at all and decided to cancel the feud, which led to Harper targeting Sami Zayn. That match was the beginning of the end for Harper as he requested his release not too shortly after. He even took to Twitter basically saying goodbye to everyone, and then he got denied his contract. You guys remember that Luke Harper getting 6 more months added to his contract joke? I hated it, but at least it started out with validity because that's literally what WWE did. Harper says, "Hey, can I leave?" And Vince says, "No, you're staying longer."
Personally, we'll kick that door down and lead the Dark Order through it. Seems to be a little bit of silence. Maybe you don't understand.
Number 2, Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes had a pretty great run, at least when teaming with his brother Goldust, and won the WWE Tag Team Championships alongside his brother, and instead of using this to push Rhodes up the card, WWE chose to repackage him as Stardust. Stardust. Rhodes did the best he could with the gimmick. God forbid I just remembered that he was with the Ascension. But it was abundantly clear that there was no coming back from it. You know, he was teaming with the Ascension. Rhodes spent about a year as Stardust, struggling in the mid-card as WWE did nothing to indicate they had any plans to push Rhodes as a main event talent, despite him possessing pretty much all the tools to be a top star. He obviously had a point to prove with WWE, which he has done since leaving the promotion and eventually playing a pivotal role in the birth of AEW.
Upon a star.
And number 1, oh man, Wade Barrett. I mean, really the Nexus, but Wade Barrett really was the one who was supposed to be shunted into the main event from the Nexus, the big guy who could have become the big main event guy, and instead Everyone knows that WWE completely bungled its booking of the Nexus, but that wasn't what ended Wade's career with the promotion itself. Despite some questionable booking in the years that followed, Barrett did still manage to stay over with audiences, especially as Bad News Barrett and King Barrett came around. But when he became a member of the League of Nations, WWE took away any hope of him ever bouncing back. That faction existed with the sole purpose of getting Roman Reigns over with the audience. Do I literally need to keep talking? They tried, they failed, they really failed. The League began struggling once more, and when the time came to kick someone out, they chose Wade Barrett. He got labeled as the weak link and thrown out of the group, marking his last WWE appearance as an in-ring performer. Thankfully, he's back basically as Stu Bennett, sort of pretending his entire in-ring work didn't really exist with WWE as an NXT commentator, and he's great. I just really hope he doesn't remember the years that I remember, because they sucked.
Wait a minute. Bro kick! Like Sheamus just identified the weakest link.
And those are 10 precise moments that WWE decided to end some random careers. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments down below. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel, notifications, and that bell.